Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati has expressed hopes for a ceasefire with Israel in the coming days. And he said that US envoy Amos Hochstein hinted during a phone call on Wednesday that a ceasefire in the Israel-Hezbollah war was indeed possible before the American elections. Now, in a televised interview with Lebanese broadcaster Al Jadid, he further said that he became more optimistic of the chances of a ceasefire, as the US envoy is due to travel to Israel on Thursday. Mikati added that a ceasefire will be linked to the implementation of the UN resolution that ended the 2006 war between Israel and Hezbollah.
Honestly, I don't know what to believe anymore. But we are doing everything we can, and we must always keep trying and remain optimistic. Hopefully in the coming hours or days, we'll see a ceasefire. I should mention that in my conversation with him, he was very hopeful, even though there were reports in the media suggesting otherwise.
Two White House officials, Brett McGurk and Amos Hochstein, are traveling to Israel to engage on issues including a diplomatic resolution in Lebanon and an end to the conflict in Gaza. Now, on the other hand, Hezbollah's new leader Naim Qassem said that the group will agree to a ceasefire with Israel under acceptable terms, but added that a viable deal has yet to be presented.
And one of the things that they are going to discuss is how we can find a diplomatic resolution that fully implements a UN Security Council Resolution 1701, something that we have not seen over the past few years.
Naim Qassem did speak of the ceasefire, but it had to be on Hezbollah's terms as well, and the statement came as Israel's Security Cabinet met to discuss a possible truce. Hours before that, the Hezbollah chief said that the armed Lebanese group will continue on its path of war with Israel.
If the Israelis decide that they want to stop the aggression, we say we accept, but under the conditions that we see as appropriate and suitable.
Furthermore, the Israeli military said Hezbollah command centers were hit during strikes on Lebanon's eastern city of Baalbek and Nabateh in the south. Explosions rocked Baalbek city shortly after Israeli military issued warnings for the residents to evacuate. Lebanon's health ministry said at least 19 people were killed in Israeli strikes on two areas in the Baalbek region, while 11 people were killed in Israeli strikes on the town of Somor in the eastern Bekaa Valley. Meanwhile, Hezbollah said it fired rockets and drones at 3 military positions in northern Israel, including near Haifa and Acre. It later said it fired rockets at a military training camp southeast of the capital, Tel Aviv. The UN peacekeeping mission in Lebanon recorded more than 30 incidents this month, resulting in property damage or injury to peacekeepers, about 20 of them from Israeli fire or action. UNIFIL spokesman said peacekeepers performing their monitoring tasks were deliberately targeted by the IDF. All right, to get us the latest on this development and on this front, we're being joined by our correspondent Jody Cohen. She's joining me live from Renana, Israel. Jody, the Lebanese Prime Minister has suggested that a ceasefire could be close. Is there any other input that you have on this?
Hi Siobhan, happy Diwali to you and to everyone watching. So the Lebanese Prime Minister has suggested that we could see a ceasefire proposal presented to Israel in the coming days. Now, according to Israeli media reports, Prime Minister Netanyahu has accepted Israeli security officials' position that a ceasefire in Lebanon would be appropriate as long as it enables Israel's northern residents to return home safely. But mayors of northern towns have suggested that the threats to their residents have not yet been removed. Now, according to a Lebanese media report, Hezbollah has agreed to withdraw beyond the UN-recognised boundary, but it appears that Hezbollah has not agreed to Israel's other conditions, including, for example, the de-arming of Hezbollah. And Naim Qassem gave that first speech as Hezbollah's new chief, in which he suggested that he would continue Nasrallah's war against Israel. And as you said, the US envoys are in the region this week to discuss the prospects of a ceasefire further.
Jody, as far as the tensions directly between Israel and Iran are concerned, there is a recent development and it has set tongues wagging all over. Iran has reportedly suggested that it could strike Israel in the coming few days, and this might just happen before the US elections. Is there any response that you've picked up on that from around you?
Right, so we've heard that an anonymous source suggested to CNN that Iran would deliver what he said was a definitive, painful strike on Israel. And this would be in response to Israel's retaliation for Iran's ballistic missile attack. And the source suggested that this was likely to happen before the presidential election, which we know is next week. Now, IDF Chief Herzi Halevi has said that if Iran chooses to strike Israel, that Israel would strike Iran with capabilities that it didn't use and against targets that it spared this time. Now, commentators are suggesting that Halevi was referring to Iran's energy facilities, but that if it's believed that Iran could be on the verge of getting nuclear weapons, Israel could potentially strike Iran's nuclear program. And in a speech to the opening of Parliament, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel won't allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. Now, the White House has said that Iran should not respond to Israel's retaliation, but that if they do, the US would support Israel in defending itself.
The chances of an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities by Israel, well, that can't completely be ruled out. And here's only hoping that peace prevails at the earliest, especially on an auspicious day like this. It will definitely be a prayer from our side that there is peace in the entire region for everyone, so the death toll can come down on all sides. Wishing you and your family a happy Diwali. Thank you so much for joining in. That was Jody Cohen, our correspondent, joining me from Renana, Israel.